the masters,
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
But at the church,
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
I trust that all of you are doing well. My name is Norman Tumhimbise. We are streaming live on our social media pages, on Facebook, Alternative Digitalk, and also Digitalk TV, and YouTube, Alternative Digitalk as well. Every Monday around this time, 7 to 9, we have our panelists who dissect a topical discussion as chosen and or recommended by all of you, our viewers. Today, the 3rd November, we are trying to make sense of 80 years of the United Nations, an organization, if I may use the word, that was founded on 24th 1945 in October. Gladly, again, with us is Honorable Awich Pollah, who happens to have been a judge in the UN. And this qualifies him to be a diplomat, very well informed of the topical discussion. And of course, as we continue moving forward, we shall ask from him and the rest of the panelists to tell us on whether or not the United Nations still serves the purpose for which it was founded in 1945. We are talking about 80, that's 80 full years of either imperfection, inconsistency, dormancy, or active work. The other panelist, he's been abroad and also following the sequence of events, the performance and or ill performance of the United Nations, Mr. Joseph Ochieno, a political scholar but also a human rights defender and a UPC diehard. In fact, he should be a UPC leader, but of course he still has his issues with, court issues with the party and the rest. He will of course substantiate some basic information to that regard. As we look forward to also having Professor Rogers Barigayomwe, who will step in shortly from now. I will ask Honorable Awich Pollah and give him his 5 minutes to say hello to viewers, but also to share with us basics in regards to how his week has been. And if I should share, but this is public knowledge, he was away to TZ. He will share with us on whether the Tanzanians are also protecting the gains, whether Suluhu indeed has the gains she's protecting. As far as I know, she's been sworn in today so hurriedly, but of course, before we came on air, Honorable Awich was sharing with us that the constitution of TZ allows them to swear in their president as soon as a few hours after being declared, unlike our constitution here. And the reason for which he was trying to give us the insight is because Honorable Awich was trying to applaud now with the late Justice Kanyihamba, who advised that the Uganda's constitution should allow the swearing in, to take 3 months from when the president is being declared. The reason to that, according to what Honorable Awich has shared, is that Professor Kanyihamba wanted to spare time for petitioners to petition a presidential candidate. In TZ, even if you went to court tomorrow, you will be petitioning against the president. Take it on, Honorable Awich, and say hello to our viewers. And also, you could also shed some light in regards to the difference between these two constitutions, our constitution and Tanzanian constitution, when it comes to the declaration of the presidential candidate.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, viewers. I believe that I will make mention of UN after this.
Yeah, sure.
So I leave it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I won't touch UN for now.
UN, let's first hang in there. Let's keep our UN at our chest. It will definitely come on board as well.
Okay, fine. I've already been introduced on the name, the position I hold. My name is Major Awich, Major retired. I'm a Director for External Affairs for NRM. I'm also practicing advocate in the courts of law of Uganda and a member of the East African Law Society. And the
Director.
The list continues. Now, I'm also an enrolled expert with ICC. The title is long. So like you enroll as an advocate in Uganda, ICC enrolls people. Now, about the week, my week has been very active as it is now because I have a lot of internal dynamics. We are having a campaign, and in our structure in the party, we have zoned areas for directors. I've been zoned Lango district.
Sub-region?
Lango sub-region, which consists of 10 districts. So I monitor what happens there on a daily. Before that, the first campaign was started from my area because Electoral Commission has given every candidate days and districts to be in. So President Museveni launched his in Luero, and that was just a launch because he's going back to Luero for campaign. So the real substantive campaign started with me in Amolata. So that came, it ended, but now I have other level of campaign going on. So it kept my week busy. And also when I'm here, for some reason, you, the media, like me, possibly because of my fairness and my packaging of information, and also maybe I've convinced you have depth of information about these things. I keep myself busy in the media world. Our substantive director is Honorable Dombo, but Dombo really leaves me, is in the field, and I've been explaining what is happening in the field. So that formed part of my week. The other part of my week is that I went to Tanzania. In Tanzania, it was at the invitation of CCM, the Chama cha Mapinduzi. Chama is the movement, Mapinduzi is the revolution. So CCM is a Swahili term, but it basically means the Revolutionary Party of Tanzania, or the Revolutionary Movement of Tanzania, which was started by Nyerere. It has long-lasting relationship with Uganda from the days of Obote up to now. We had a break when Amin was there for 8 years, but we know that CCM did a lot for the liberation of Uganda in 79.
What did you share in common?
The revolutionary, the progressiveness.
That's what you share in common?
Yes, the revolutionary, yeah.
CCM and
NRM.
And NRM.
So, it was right and fitting that they invited me and other parties. They were ANC of South Africa, Frelimo of Mozambique, MPLA of Angola, ZANU Party of Zimbabwe, then Burundi, and us. So we are considered good friends, and we went there. What is developing in international practice is that if you're having a campaign, you invite colleague parties as a group of peers to say, hey, you are my friend. Can you come and see my transparency? Because you are my peers, I would take advice from you, or I would take criticisms from you. So that is the basis on which CCM invited a group of friends as a group of peers. So we went there. I was in Dar es Salaam. We attended political rallies of Dr. Samia, the president of CCM. We were flown in the Zanzibar. We attended rallies. We were flown in Mwanza, just on Lake Victoria here. We did the same, and we went back. Election took us there. They voted, and we came back. So the week was taken big of it with our interface with other colleagues in Tanzania. And I can only depend, or I can swear for what I saw. That what I saw was that there was peace, there was no violence. And CCM campaign is civil. It doesn't talk names, they talk issues based. They have a very organized system of campaign. They have a new Secretary General, a lady who was an ambassador, but she has been made now a Secretary General. She was recalled and made Secretary General. She's so thorough, and she really has a very programmed campaign strategy which works. They prefer slogans and catchphrases. So their slogans and catchphrases are good. So it was good. So there was no violence. Now,
what about what we watch? That's AI.
And that is what I was coming to, that it really gives me an issue with social media, because I was staying in a hotel in Dar es Salaam of floor 26. Floor 26, if you were in the Sheraton in Kampala, you'd basically be seeing Munyonyo, or nearly Mukono, or Wakiso, or everywhere. So if a car was being burned, you'd see it. I never saw anything. What I saw, though, was that on my way to the airport, I saw some broken glasses of the waiting places for the bus. You know, they have designed their road where the bus is in the middle of the road for fast public transport, so that you are not tempted even by taxi, because the bus is more convenient and faster. So those waiting rooms are the ones I saw glasses broken. But coming from the hotel, which is a reasonable distance, I came in one Land Cruiser, no escort, nothing, no armed person up to the airport. So, but I could also realize that for security reasons, they are disabled communication system, which I think could work for them. Because even one time in Uganda, when we had the riot over Kayunga, the state discovered that actually social media was used to bring in insecurity. For example, somebody would post from Natete that for us we have already started burning government cars. What are you still waiting for? You see, you would see that this was total abuse of social media. Total abuse of social media, because somebody posts from Natete, or even somebody manufactures with AI from Sweden or from America and post into a Uganda social media system saying, for us in Natete, we have already started burning government vehicles. What are you people there waiting for? So when government switched off, Uganda Communication Commission switched off social media, it kind of cooled. So I was surprised.
As you watch some of the footage in Tekata's video, but I would ask our, that's from NTV Kenya, Tekata's video, but because you said that you, in your view, given the time you spent in TZ, there was nothing like any riots. All that you saw was peace. And I wanted to read for you, our producer please, I wanted to read the statement, the brief statement by the Chadema. And they are saying, no genuine election took place in Tanzania. The countrywide demonstrations are clear proof that the citizens did not take part in what is being called an election. And the Honorable Awich continues to, I don't want to say assert, you are saying, you didn't see anything like violence or any riots.
I was in Dar es Salaam. I was in Zanzibar. I came back to Dar es Salaam. I went to Mwanza. I came back to Dar es Salaam. I have not seen a riot. You see, if I told you I saw a riot and I'm cross-examined, they would find my lies.
Because you didn't see them.
Because I didn't see them. If there was a cross-examiner to cross-examine me, you saw it, which street? Did you? When you saw it, from which angle? I would be lying. So, okay. I did not see. So either because of where I was or the mode of movement that I used,
as a VIP,
but I can tell you, I never saw anything in all wide movement. And it would be total dishonesty for me to say I saw it.
So in your view, that is literally, that could be AI generated?
I really don't know what is this one about. Okay. I really don't know. But I told you that I saw broken glasses
smaller broken
on
glass.
Could be small or what, but you see they have a big road. For example, if you are coming from Entebbe, from the airport, or any part of Ginger Road, for example, you'd find in the middle of the road, they have made big roads for buses. Now, at reasonable distance, there's a bus waiting place, like a house, kind of. Those are the ones I saw broken glasses.
Did you mind asking
your
colleagues what could have caused the breaking glasses?
I didn't ask because the person who was taking me at the airport was really maybe did not know. I didn't even bother. But you could only infer from that possibly there had been a demonstration there. Okay? But to tell you that I saw it is dishonest.
If I cross to Mr. Ochieno, you mentioned transparency. What's your view?
My view is that
having participated, you did not participate, but you having observed what in some of the campaign rallies you were part of, was there transparency in your view as a lawyer?
Yes, in campaign processes that I saw was transparency. Why? It was put in public places, and apart from security check for a public place entrance security, there was no prohibition. For example, in Mwanza, the stadium that we were in is bigger than Nakivubu, but it was a big public place and it was full to the places where you'd sit, the stand for watching a football was full and the ground was full. So meaning it was more than full to a level of watching football. So it is public. And also the method of communication. You'd see the method of communication by way of, say, backbiting or insulting or talking about the other parties. There was nothing like that. It was quite mature. And even those who had crossed from other parties to CCM, they were made to make speeches. And many of them were members of parliament. And you could see that their speeches were honest and open. So by the public placing it, by the non-prohibition, by the manner of speeches, you could see that it is transparent and honest.
What do you make of the statement from some observers calling Her Excellency Suruhu a dictator?
What I made of it is that, what I make of it is that in a political contestation, there are opposite views. And the opposite views, whoever holds the opposite view, would say anything. However good you are, or in a way, some of your decisions made him or her feel you're a dictator. So they have a right to their view.
What's your view?
My view is she is not. To the extent that the vice chairman of the party, to show you that the party actually is stronger than the individual there, the vice chairman who spoke there said that she did an exams to qualify to take a flag. So you could see that she's just a party person. So if there was any threat of dictatorship, then it must be the party, not the person. Because imagine a situation where here you are saying NRM is bigger than all of us. And you tell a flag bearer of NRM that for us to give you this flag, remember you had to pass our exams we gave you.
Does it not make
So,
CCM different from NRM where we have a sole candidate?
Of course
Because
we
you
are.
said you share,
Of course we are
people.
not the same. We can't be the same.
Okay.
And we also know that, remember CCM has been there for coming to 63 years, and all the 63 years they are in State House. And therefore, I wouldn't be surprised by their other progressive tendencies or their strong points that are stronger than us. But we are also stronger than them in many aspects. So the difference is, for example, we are more of a mass party than them.
Okay.
Yeah, because for them, the party membership is so clearly defined. The party membership is so clearly defined, and accessibility of membership to the party is not as easy as it is for us. They are very near the Communist Party of China. Remember, China has 1.5 billion people, but only 900 are party members. The 1.4 and 100 are not. So we have our strengths, and they have their strengths.
Are there any, in your view, with due honesty, are there some bit of tendencies you could point at and say, this could highlight some bit of dictatorship? Or in your view, so democratic, everything is as pure as an ocean's water?
Well, I need to examine. My own, what I could see as a point of checking is how they take advantage of judicial process. Because if you look at their judicial processes, it is alleged that the key opposition leaders were in conflict of the law. Some people may argue that for public interest, even if a candidate had deviated, you ignore, and that is what NRM does. For example, NRM had said that the military fatigue wear, the kofia and the uniform should not be wearing, but they continue. But if you insist on that, you can see that you end up, you're keeping the law to the letter, right? But you are really breaking the system. So you let pass. So my worry was how the judicial system works and how the party takes advantage of judicial process and their ability to ignore other things which could have made them go on.
Which you have failed as NRM, have you?
I have already given you the example of. I've already given you the example of that if we were to follow the law to the letter.
You still have very many young people in Chitaria and so many other prisons over the same bereti.
You asked me the example, I gave you my example. And I could give you many more. So my own, what was running at the back of my mind with our comrades was, as I have said, how do you quickly take advantage of judicial process when you think somebody is in conflict with the law? Or how do you really follow the law to the letter? And in the same line, how do you ignore some judicial process for the sake of continuity?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Let's go to Mr. Joseph Ochieno. You have had his submissions, and you almost took my mandate. You remember that's a key word when you asked him, and I let you, I let your coup be executed. And I answered. And he, you executed your coup, and he answered. And I answered. What's your take when it comes to the Tanzanian elections and subsequent swearing in of the Her Excellency Suluhu today? Vis-a-vis ours here.
I'm still held back, taken aback a little by Comrade Awich's very good experience in Tanzania, because Comrade Awich is a colleague and a friend, and we share common platforms in a few places. And at some stage, we were genuinely concerned about his welfare in Tanzania, because we knew he was in Tanzania.
The gentleman you were worried about has never been worried about what you were worried about.
No, apparently he was in a fine space. Number two, I don't want us to over-politicize it. I want to give Comrade Rich the benefit of the doubt. But again, I'm taken aback, if you see the things that have been very clearly globally reported. They're not social media issues, they're facts. The elections in Tanzania were genuinely shambolic, and I'll say shambolic from this perspective, that for an election in which President Samia, whom I highly regard, and whom I very much regarded, and about whom I was very excited about her coming to power, could let, and Comrade Rich is talking about the judicial processes, let a situation in which she is almost a sole candidate standing against herself, when the official leader of opposition is in jail.
There were 16 candidates.
I know that's an NRM line, and they've been using that line for a very long time.
16 candidates.
So
not GMO candidates,
well, there you go.
16.
Number two,
I even have 20.
the next most important political party was the Lendo with the issues. And then, of course, we have these paper candidates coming in stream, some of whom may be, bedroom briefcase material candidates, like the kind of thing that NRM is facing away today here at home. It's very unfortunate. But Norman, as Comrade Awich rightly says, CCM has a long history of friendship with Uganda. And on this table, authoritatively, in normal times, I should be the nearest, closest person to CCM. Because of us, Museveni found his way to Tanzania. And because of us, these guys are enjoying the privileges. Uganda People's Congress. No, the very early relation between the two parties, CCM and UPC. I'm not politicizing it. I'm just making important points. UPC and CCM and President Obote and President Nyerere, in a very visionary Africanist way, these guys did a huge amount of work for this African community. Realize I don't even mention Kenyatta, and I usually don't in that setting. But instead, then you extend it to Kenneth Kaunda, then you extend it to some of our other friends further down south who are not yet liberated. So it's very hard for me to criticize CCM, just like I still find it very hard once in a while to criticize ANC. But being a scholar, being Ochieno and being UPC, I sort of say some of these other things. Following the Marikana massacre in South Africa, I took a position, and I said it as it was, of the ANC. For the CCM guys, the manner in which the Chadema opposition leader has been treated is completely unacceptable. Now, sort of like where Awich says it, after Nyerere, and then the subsequent leaders, and then came Magufuli, radically so as he was, breaking through the economic turnaround really in Tanzania, including the infrastructure thing that Awich talks about. My suggestion has been that, well, come to these elections, regardless of where the opposition was, there was no need to take the extremes of a Kawempe kind of style, obstruction of opposition. Because I think actually, and it's very interesting, I'll be interested to engage actually with them, including with the new Secretary General as it were, that for us we should be pushing politics of issues with the evidence in terms of our deliveries. So CCM, and I was in TZ last year, there's quite a lot for the governing party, notwithstanding that the disadvantage they have of incumbency and long life in government, which normally would be a big issue anyway, meaning therefore that there are people who basically just not vote for them simply because of change. Those are there. But these are the democratic realities that we need to be able to face as political parties and organizations, especially political parties and organizations, unlike NRA, who did it opportunistically here in Luweero. Political parties and organizations that founded African liberation away from the imperialists, that we say, well, we want to claim our independence, claim our statehood, but grant the ownership of these nation states to African brethren. So very, very sadly and unfortunate.
So
but
who do you blame? Because you seem to shy away from condemning, rather blaming.
No.
So do you, who do we blame? Her Excellency Suluhu, or because it's like you are exaggerating CCM?
No, I was giving you a contextual background. No, I think it would be very unfair to suggest that I'm not blaming. Okay. I am actually condemning what has happened in Tanzania. I was just giving the contextual background. I'm putting a disclaimer. Okay. The way I would put a disclaimer on any disagreement with Jim McKenna or any challenges in Uganda Post-Congress, because they're hard from where we're coming from. But these are things that need to be talked about. No, it is extremely unacceptable, whatever you've seen in the streets of Tanzania. And in fact, as I condemn, and as we condemn, the unnecessary atrocities that NRM meted on our young people, the last elections where over 50 people died, and as you rightly say, hundreds more are still completely unacceptably outside their families. In Tanzania's case, there are hundreds.
Did you have any specific different expectations of CCM and their president, apparently?
Yeah, when she came, and those of us commentators have got trouble, and Comrade Rich can go ahead and expose me in the last 2 years, we praised this woman like nothing. And by this, she was extremely exemplary. And I still hope that she will still do that. That she talked to the opposition, they shared tables, they had these mini conversations. She was having these young baby little children coming and sit on her seat. She's a woman, she's a Muslim, she's from a contextual vulnerable background. She's a real force for change. She's the only second female president on the continent, followed by my other colleague in SWAPO. So massively exciting.
What could have gone wrong?
It has been suggested, and it's interesting you raised that, and this is speculative. In my column, the New African column, Out of Africa, I wrote a big piece in praise of President Kikwete as he was leaving. And my hope then was Kikwete would be replacing, in my opinion, Thabo Mbeki, because we're going to discuss the United Nations, and so therefore the African Union. So the continent that requires and that needs big names and big figures that bang the table, and that who is the person who will be banging the table on behalf of Africa. And if Mbeki is not able to do it, I know Museveni cannot do it because of his contradictions and being compromised, but that in this case Kikwete would. I now understand some people say that within CCM there are mild conflicting internal contradictions, and that there may be forces that are pushing this radicalist line that now manifests in the kind of things that we see in the streets. But whatever it is, I think is completely unacceptable. Okay. Again, though, interestingly, I have heard, and Comrade Wichi, I don't know, I've heard that Chadema, of course, Chadema is a right-wing political party. If it is possible that Chadema is linked to certain imperialist interests, the way MDC of Zimbabwe was linked to imperialist interests, that one I know. They got evidence.
With Shavengelai at the time?
With Changrai, yeah, Changrai indeed. If it is the case, my advice to my colleagues in the CCM, they should not only handle it fairly, objectively on the table, but they should actually table these things onto the public domain, the citizens of Tanzania, and run with it. And Comrade, you know what I'm trying to talk about. But if you hold back, it's almost like saying that you're taking certain people in basements because they're a national security threat, but you're not telling us what it is. Is it then surprising that I'm told Changrai's wife was declined allegedly entry into TZ? But look, you were talking about our last weeks. I came from Kenya. I attended Raila Odinga's funeral in Bondo, for which I'm really pleased that I was able to make that journey. Huge stuff. Raila Odinga's ability to engage with people who've cheated him, people who've tortured him, people now present him like the mini Madiba. If this is the East Africa in which we are, and if this is Raila Odinga that, again, last year compels me to be on the same pavilion with Museveni and Ruto, people with whom would normally you should really have issues, and with factual evidence, the guy settles, and I say, oh, Raila's gone, what lesson do we learn as East Africa? And then I am told, you see what's happening in Tanzania about politics of intolerance. And then you compare CCM that I know versus whatever political organizations down there. I find it sad. In 1975, this is my last observation, 1975, over lunch in Dar es Salaam, in Masasani, President Obote and President Kaunda with their wives. Obote told Nyerere that it is good for us to retire when we are still popular. Now, of course, unfortunately, Obote returned, very popular, won the elections but never had the opportunity. Nyerere managed to retire, whether popular or not, but Nyerere managed to retire. I am repeating this for leaders, that, at some stage, we should be able to leave this space. Now, Tanzania has had this two-term thing that worked for them. I think our colleagues in CCM need to be able to build a system in which it is possible for them to lose elections. But accept the outcome, prepare grounds for the next round. But if there is a seed of monolithic polity of NRA in which is either us or nobody else, that's not democracy.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Joseph Ochieno. I want to cross to Professor Rogers Barigayomwe, and I remember sharing with you that he would be stepping in, and by God's grace, he's with us. He's known for his controversial ideas, and I remember back in the day, Justice Kanyihamba would say that if it's not fair for us, that each one of us ought to be controversial, and that's very important, because you cannot just be there without being controversial. Professor, viewers, and you share with them how controversial you are when it comes to the Tanzanian politics, and then we shall proceed.
You've just started on a biased note, but a pleasure to be with you and my senior mentors here. But
and you've got my protection.
maybe I should share with you something what your OB said. It was like, today, for the first time in history, you are behaving like a Mbarara High School product.
For
timekeeping.
My apologies. You know very well that in Intare School, as a timekeeper of the school, unfortunately, I sent apologies.
Yeah, sure.
What was happening?
Was it NRA infrastructure traffic?
Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
It also happens, and it's a habit with you, with the timekeepers then, that would have their watches, and then you rewind the clock.
I'm not surprised that is in Tare. In Mwiri we wouldn't do that. But I'm not surprised.
But back to the topic.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to be controversial, but these are facts.
Okay.
And they are written actually in the Holy Book, in Revelations 18:19. Jesus Christ says, when the revelation that at the end time when it's coming, there are three organized groups. One of them is the world rulers, with the religious rulers, and the rich people will come to fight the Lamb of God. To fight truth, to fight liberties. Those three categories we are talking about. The world rulers, the king, the presidents, and in context with what we are going to discuss with the UN. We are going to contextualize it to the East African region, and I'll show you the evil people who are the world rulers, who are the presidents of the region of East Africa. They are so evil, the religious people